When gamers hear the term narrative consultant now, we point and laugh because most of the people that have those positions were hired due to DEI initiatives. But when they work at companies like Sweet Baby Inc., they've already proven they don't love video games. They don't care about making this industry amazing. They simply care about making a few extra bucks off of an industry they thought was going to be easy to infiltrate, and that certainly hasn't happened. Yesterday, we found out that EA canceled their Black Panther game. They shut Cliffhanger Studios down, and gamers are pointing and laughing at the fact that the ex-Sweet Baby Inc. employees who were openly racist are now out of jobs. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, obviously, I don't like to revel in the fact that people are losing their jobs. It's happening across many industries right now, and the gaming industry, yes, has been hit extremely hard. And if this was just a few years ago, I would have been saddened by this news because I would have had a lot of hope in a Black Panther game. I initially was relatively excited for it. And I love when more video games are created, even if it's not a video game for me like a Dustborn. I guess I have to give them a little bit of credit because they weren't ruining an established franchise and they created something they thought people were going to like. I know only like 5 people ended up playing that game, but I guess I need to give them a little bit of credit for trying, even if they didn't try very hard. But I don't really care at this point. I'm not going to feel any sympathy for people who have made very openly racist statements in the past, people who have worked for companies that are actively trying to tear apart this industry, and I'm not going to feel sympathy for people who generally hate my guts. Now, I had talked about this yesterday when the news broke. That video will be linked down below, but I'll recap really quickly. Electronic Arts has officially canceled its Black Panther video game and shut down Cliffhanger Games, the studio created to develop the project. Announced in 2023 as part of EA's multi-game deal with Marvel, the title had already been in early development with no gameplay footage ever released. Its cancellation comes amidst escalating controversy surrounding members of the development team and wider corporate restructuring within EA. We do not know where this was in the development process. I have a feeling it was similar to Wonder Woman. If you don't know about the Wonder Woman game that was recently canceled, that was announced back in 2020, so it had already been in development for quite a few years, but they had rebooted it 3 times. Initially, they were going with a very in-depth single-player experience, high quality. Their aim seemed pretty clear. Then they shifted the mentality to live service. They thought Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League was going to be a mega hit, that everybody was going to want to play live service games over the next few years, so they shifted it to live service. Then, after Suicide Squad's failure, they started pivoting back again to a single-player game, and it just fell apart from there. They had already put so much time and money into it. It wasn't going well. Plus, that also faced controversy because of individuals like Tanya DePass. She was a senior writer on that project. She is somebody who pushes for DEI initiatives in the industry. She's not very talented, and overall, somebody who really just hates gamers' guts. The same thing is happening here. We don't know how much money or time went into this Black Panther game. It's already been a couple of years, though, since they announced it, and I'm sure that they were working on it before that, but it seemed like this was going to be a game they were going to come out with, they had confidence in. Suddenly, one day, it's canceled. I had previously talked about this game because of the controversy surrounding members of the development team, which also doesn't help. Maybe EA is finally learning. Maybe they understand that having employees that were once affiliated with Sweet Baby Inc. is a major red flag. Also, because there were ex-SBI employees on this, there's also the potential that Sweet Baby was consulting on this game overall. There's no confirmation of that. Take it with a grain of salt, but from what I understand, that was going to be the case. Sweet Baby was going to be brought on. It was going to be a big team effort, though that plan might have shifted several months ago with the initial backlash this individual faced, plus the general boycott that's surrounding Sweet Baby Inc. If it would have eventually happened, I'm not sure, but it sounds like that was the plan. And it could also, on the other hand, just be EA cutting their losses. Maybe they said to themselves, there's no way this is going to come out and do well. We've got too many of these superhero games in the works right now. We need to cancel some of them. We, of course, know that they have an Iron Man game that's being made. There is Rise of Hydra, which also features Black Panther. That could have been a big reason. We've seen several superhero games be canceled, like Wonder Woman, or also fail, like Kill the Justice League. And I'm not just talking about Marvel here, obviously. I'm just talking about the scope of the superhero space in general. Plus, the movies, of course, aren't even doing all that good. Public scrutiny around the project intensified following the hiring of Danny Lalonde, an associate narrative designer and former Sweet Baby Inc. contributor. What is crazy about this is that she previously did not have any experience in the gaming industry, really. She, for 7 years, was a receptionist at a daycare. Then, in 2021, she started her video game spree, where she was a narrative writer at Soft Not Weak for 7 months, a narrative designer at Sweet Baby Inc. for 8 months, and then she suddenly shot up to an associate narrative designer at Cliffhanger, which sounds insane to me. I don't know what she did. I don't know how she ended up moving up those ranks quickly, except for a DEI initiative. There's no shot that she actually is talented enough to work on a game like Black Panther. I have not seen anything that would point to that. Just my opinion. But in a resurfaced 2021 panel discussion from the Game Devs of Color Expo, she bragged about having no white developers working on her indie game Validate. Validate is not a game that people talk about. It's not a game that people really know about. And it's very clear that she felt comfortable speaking so openly about her racism at a Game Devs of Color Expo. Imagine if there was a Game Devs Without Color Expo. Imagine if it was just a bunch of white people getting together, talking about video game development, and then coming out and making a statement like this. Oh, Validate has a team of all people of color. Validate has a team of all white people. We have no white people on our team, she said. I did that because I wanted to create a safe environment. Imagine if the roles were reversed here. It would be insane. There would be so much backlash. It would be crazy. But now that this has happened, people are roasting her, and people are roasting EA, and people are generally saying, I'm glad that this happened. Because again, we don't want to revel in the fact that people are losing their jobs, but when you suck at your job, you shouldn't be hired for that job. You shouldn't have it. Creators like Toasty are saying, not surprised, minimal effort, putting the gifs where he's trying not to laugh. Melee K saying, imagine my shock. EA's been trying to purge these people for a while. Looks like now they can. I don't necessarily know if they had been actively trying to get rid of people like this, but it's clear now that they're at least cutting off these projects that they don't think are going to make them a significant amount of money. Somebody else said, also Black Panther, no one was looking forward to this. Second, Marvel is facing tits up. It's over for the MCU. All these games are way overdue and too late, which is true. It's like when the Square Enix Marvel Avengers game had came out. That was years too late. If that had come out maybe 5 years earlier, it would have done crazy numbers, even with all of the bad monetization and the mediocre content and the bad game loop. Like, it still would have made a significant amount of money, but it didn't because it was far too late. Even people like Asmongold are putting up videos with opinions saying, haha, fuck them. Of course. Going really well. 800,000 views, 32,000 likes. Sims 4, play however you want, but not that way. Cliffhanger Studios ends abruptly. Absolute fucking comedy, which you just love to see it. People actually getting what they deserve. They can hire a person who openly admits that they refuse to hire white people in their game studio, but in the same turn, it is not okay to have a mod that turns characters white. Put the fries in the bag. Microaggression just means you didn't actually do anything wrong, but I still want to blame you for offending me. Unfortunately, this is the way a lot of people think on the internet. Well, I'm going to find some reason to attack you for something you've said, and I'm going to pretend like it is the end of the world for me, so maybe you get fired, maybe you face the consequences. I'll say it again, Wakanda may last forever, but employment does not. Absolutely fucking hilarious. So yeah, things are not going particularly good for them at this point in time. It doesn't really seem like many people are on their side, except for the access media that's going, oh, boo-hoo, poor developers, when really these developers don't really know, it seems, how to make games if you're hiring people like Sweet Baby Inc. employees. And if the game was almost done and it was going really well, EA would have put the rest of the money and the time into it. So I don't think that it was going too positively behind the scenes. We'll see if anybody behind this project comes out and gives any information on it, but right now gamers are absolutely wrecking Cliffhanger and also EA and this Black Panther game, and you love to see it. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.